The deterioration is where the installation or the equipment is actually losing its natural strength. When it was new, it was more sturdier. That's where we can probably apply a bit of IP to the situation to see how strong the framework of the accessory still is. That's deterioration. It's going down. And again, observation. So that's D for observational skills. Now that's the sad part of it finished. Poor cow probably didn't get any feeding, so he's deteriorating. Anyway, back to the SADCOW acronym. Now we move on to C, which stands for corrosion. Now corrosion is where the appliances, the equipment is being placed, and the reason for it to be there, is it the right reason to put that particular item, appliances, PowerPoint at that particular spot, because the environment doesn't allow it to live a longer life, and you have to put in then the right equipment, accessories that is needed for that particular point. Sometimes we go into houses, I see people put aerosols on radiator tops, salt on top of window ledges for damp, because England does suffer from a lot of damps, to be honest with you, and some people will do the cheapest extreme to try to resolve the damp. The situation with things like that is it can be very detrimental. If you have an equipment underneath the window that is electrically connected using at the same time, and you have salt on top of the window ledge, and it is accidentally pushed over, bounced off, and goes into that equipment, appliances, whatever you're using at the time, it can be very fatal, very detrimental to the equipment. Fuses blows, new equipment required because of that. Salt will increase your current in a nutshell, and cause the RCD to blow, and fuses to trip, as I said before. But observation tells you aerosols on top of radiators, explosive, remember, and the radiator is hot, and who knows what can happen after that, God forbid, really. So that's corrosion, how we approach it, because remember, we're working into people's property, 50 to 40 to 50 houses every day, and we see different scenarios. But then I'm just showing you, or giving some of my experiences of what I've seen, and hope that you will really digest some of it, and hope you find the video helpful. Now we go to overload. That's the O. Again, you can spot it when you go into properties. Extension everywhere. Extension on the right, extension on the left, extension in the middle, left, right, and center, right, left, and center, all over the place. Extension. The reason for a lot of time extensions are being used is there is not enough sockets in the property, and that is due to back then and now. Now we have guidelines on how many sockets should be put into a property and make it more efficient. So extension will cause overload. So people plug in too many appliances into one extension, and there goes a scenario again. It is potentially dangerous when it comes to fire. It can cause a fire, especially when we have counterfeit fuses being put into appliances that does not trip within the required time, and it did not pass the EC marking that is required on some of these fuses and so forth. So we have counterfeit fuses in our appliances that we're not aware of, and that again is not due to the person using it, but due to the manufacturers that sells these things. Well, that's a different ball game, but just to show you how overload can be affected because of the wrong thing being put into place, and then you're not protected really. So extensions all over the place is one thing we can look at. And then we move on to SADCOW, the W, the wear and the tear. The wear and tear. To be honest with you, we're going to build it. We see where appliances is being broken, damaged. We have to take into consideration, why is this happening? How does this happen? Was the furniture pushed back on it, breaking it off, exposing wires? Wear and tear of how people actually keep their electrical system safe. Some people are very good in maintaining their electrical installation and keep it within the requirement that, yes, this is good. And some people just don't have respect enough for the appliances, for their electrical safety. And sad to say, it is what it is. We're in the maintenance department and we know this is true, and we can identify this day in, day out. 40 to 50 hours per day is not easy. But how can we bring up our productivity also when we get to know this SADCOW acronyms and how to apply it? Will be very important in the future for any electrician who wants to excel in a positive way and feel good about his work and his knowledge that he's applying to his work. And I hope that this will help you to bring up your productivity in the future and how you approach your work from day to day. Remember, the SADCOW acronym is your first step when you go through into that person's property that you'll be doing. And remember, this is observations. And when you complete that observation, then you can take your pliers, your screwdriver, your multimeter, your volt indicators, your volt testers, and apply your trade with your tool and know that you're doing a safe and handy job for the person that you're working for. Thank you.